In this video, I'm going to go over the process of adding the height detail for this warning indent here. So I have created two images to use as alphas in Substance Painter. One is a rounded rectangle that's the same proportions as the reference, and the other is the actual warning text and a little safety goggles icon that fits within that space. So I'm going to, in Substance Painter, add another folder, and I'm going to name this handle height details. And in here, I am going to create another fill layer. And I'm just going to make sure that that's in that folder. And I just want to paint height on this. And I want the height value to be indented. So a negative value. Then I am going to call this indented rectangle. And right click, add black mask. And now I need to bring in those alphas. So I'm going to go to my alphas tab, and I'm going to go to the folder where I have these alphas stored and select them both and drag them in here. And once I do that, I want to change both of these to alpha, and I'm going to just import these to the current session and click import. And I now have both of those alphas there. So with just the rounded rectangle selected, I'm going to have my mask selected in the layers and scroll down and make sure that that got placed into alpha. And now I'm going to go in and hold down Control to rotate my alpha 90 degrees like I want it. And I again just want this to be stamped, so I'm going to increase the spacing so that I can really just stamp one. Bring up the size. And rotate that so that it is in the correct proportions. And place it where it needs to be placed. I think that just needs to be a little bigger. Too big. So something like that. And I now have that indented rectangle. Now that's a little bit deeper than what it needs to be, so I'm going to go back to my fill layer and make that a little more subtle. And then I'm going to right click on the mask, add filter, and just add a very slight blur filter to soften that up just a little bit. So like that. Then I'm going to add another fill layer, and we'll call this one warning text. Make sure that I'm just painting the height, and with the text I actually want it to be a little bit raised, so I'm going to have that height be a positive value. Right click on the layer, black mask, add the warning label to the alpha, and then add this in. And this actually needs to be rotated around that way. So, and I'm just increasing this in size a little bit again by holding down Control and using my right mouse. And So something like that. And that doesn't need to be quite so high, so I'll bring that down so it's a little bit more subtle. So something like that. So I now have that indented warning label on the handle. And in the next video, I'll go over the process of adding in this detail here where it is kind of melted along there, and just gonna add that in via some height detail.